Rainbows of Royalty by Triniary. Chapter 28. The Drop. The mystery seated and Rainbow Dash immediately darted out, calling out for her friends. Guys! Look out! Nightmare Moon tossed her head back and laughed, thunder and lightning flashing as he did so. Ha 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 ha! Foes! You have nowhere to run and nowhere to hide! Your precious elements of harmony lie shattered on the ground, along with your hopes of victory! Rainbow Dash was ready to dismiss that as another lie, when he saw the broken remnants of the 6 stone spears, and felt her heart sink. The evil alicorn cackled. So confident in her success, she didn't even make a move to prevent Rainbow Dash from joining her. Rainbow Dash! Despite everything, she smiled when she heard and saw her friends running towards her. You're all right! Twilight beamed as he stopped just short in front of her. Heh, you know me. Rainbow ran a hook through her mane. Just need to figure out how to make the best entrance ever. Glad to slay your own place, Applejack said, slapping Rainbow on the back. The Pegasus bit her lip hard, trying not to wince or yelp. Even if your brains have the same consistency of oatmeal. Oatmeal? Are you crazy? Pinkie Pie looked at her. Fluttershy walked over and laid her neck against Rainbow's. We were so worried. It is good to see you again, Rainbow Dash. Rarity nodded. I, for one, certainly hope that you have a backup plan now that the elements' harmony are. She fizzed for a proper description as she viewed the remains. A bunch of dumb rocks, she commented bitterly. Rainbow Dash narrowed her eyes and snored. Forget the elements! Every pony looked at her in accents. Rainbow Dash? Twilight looked at her. But how are we supposed to stop Nightmare Moon without the elements of harmony? Dash flapped her wings determinedly. I'll tell you how! We're gonna stop her ourselves! She jutted out a hoof and pointed at them. Everything can't be fixed in a neat little package by a bunch of glowing magical rocks, or a wave of a hoof, or whistling on a star. The only thing to make things right is do it yourself! She pointed angrily at Nightmare Moon. She tried to tempt me with all my dreams, like they were just something that could be given to you as a freebie. Well, Celestia taught me life doesn't work that way. You have to get to work where you want to go. Rainbow Dash looked at each of her friends in turn. And you know what? We all work to get where we are. Right here, right now. Who needs a bunch of mystical doodads or whatever that got us? The others were looking at each other, not quite sure if they were ready to believe this. Rainbow Dash rolled her eyes. Fine. She does have to prove it. Pinkie Pie! She took to the air and pointed to the pink earth pony. She saved us all from the swamp of despair by being joyful and laughing and, well, being random. If she can make us smile when we were leaving our worst moments ever, then she can do anything. Pinkie smiled and let out a small hop of joy. Rarity! Dash turned around. She surrounds herself with beautiful outfits and stuff, but didn't hesitate to give away something priceless to her if it meant making things better for others. When a pony's as generous as that her, she would do anything to save the world. Rarity smiled gratefully, touched by the compliment. Applejack! She looked at the orange farm pony. She might look like and act like a simple old cow pony with a big flank. Dash gave a little smirk at AJ's annoyed glower. Let's stood up and told the truth when she did something wrong, knowing that it might mean giving up her own life. But more than that, she's true to herself. She might not be the cleverest of ponies, but when you're that honest and have that strong a sense of justice, it makes others want to be as good and pure as her. AJ blushed slightly, tucking her hat down. But Rainbow wasn't finished. Fluttershy! Canary Yellow Pegasus eat and looked surprised, even though she must have known it was coming. Aside from being like the nicest pony ever, she managed to make friends with the weirdest and creepiest of creatures. First, I scuffed her host slightly. If you're kind enough and compassionate enough to make enemies into friends, nothing's impossible. She turned around. And there's Twilight. What can I say? Most awesome unicorn ever! Rainbow beamed. She managed to beat the most powerful unicorn in Canterlot and free her brother from Nightmare Moon's control. With her magic, we're unstoppable! Dash flew around her friends in a big circle. When all this started, I didn't think you ladies would be up to this. I was wrong, she admitted. I asked if any of you had ever done the impossible. Well, you all have now. Let's not forget about you, Sugar Cube. Applejack nudged Rainbow with her head. Don't sell yourself short. Something I never thought I'd like to say. So yeah, Warley, the giggles from the others. Sure, Cube, you're alright. You blurred the lines between foolish and brave so much, I forget they were two different words. Applejack slapped Rainbow Dash on the withers. You stuck bastard thick and thin, and there ain't nothing that stopped you from getting the ditzy and shiny in your other friends. Shook, I say you were the loyalest pony I ever met. Yeah, right, Pinky flounced. We are super incredible, also amazing, just like my song. You've got everything that you need right in front of you. Nothing's stopping you. Nothing that the world you can't do that the world can throw at you. I suppose if we can do all that, Fluttershy hesitantly added, I guess we can do anything. Rarity nodded. I agree, darlings. Who needs some tacky old bits of rock when we have the most fabulous and amazing ponies in all of Equestria? And the most fashionable as well. Now that's what I'm talking about! Rainbow Dash pumped her hoof in the air. Well, mostly. Anyway, you girls ready? Yeah! Are we gonna kick Nightmare Moon's flank all the way back to the moon? Yeah! Then let's go! Yeah! Snowflake, Bulk, what are you doing here?
Cameo! Yeah!
The weirdest things that show up in this studio. The bears charged at Nightmare Moon as he stood, unintimidated and unimpressed as they ran toward her. Out of the corner of her eye, she detected a flicker of light coming from the remnants of the elements of harmony. The 6 shattered balls each softly started to pulse with the color of the rainbow, as did the 6 approaching mares. Determination etched on their faces. It's impossible, she whispered, twinges of fear working her way into her black heart. She felt something tapped on her head. Excuse me. Nightmare Moon looked up to see the pink one, somehow standing on top of her head on her hind legs, without even noticing how she got up there. Hiya! Pinky waked. I'm supposed to say something really brave and heroic right now, but all I can think of is El Kabong! She sighed, whipping out a guitar from someplace in her mane. Nightmare Moon blinked in surprise. It brought it crashing down on the wicker mare's head with an audible clong! Nightmare Moon bellowed, clutching her head as Pinkie Pie hopped off, stumbling off the dais toward the center of her throne room. When I get the hold of you, yeehaw! Applejack whooped as he planted her front hose on the floor and lashed out with her back once, bucking the evil princess in the side. I eat like damn apples! Stumbling, Nightmare had no time to recover before Twilight blasted her other side with a powerful stream of magic. Rarity wrapped a perfumed, lacy hanky around her hoof and delivered a quick jab to the side of her head. I always found that a feather hoof inside a lace boot was the best solution, she commented. Fluttershy meekly held up her hoof. She didn't so much as punch the Dark Queen as she stumbled into it with enough force to snap her head back. Hey! Rainbow Dash shouted as Nightmare Moon gained her bearings. She looked up just in time to see a blue hoof piercing her face. Well, it made me fuck! What is the fuck anyway? I think that's the... fill the air. Keep on in, everybody! Pinkie Pie! Spin! Came the enthusiastic cry as she introduced her host to Nightmare Moon's face. I threw a party for them. Applejack! Again, the powerful hind legs of Applejack glanced out, striking Nightmare Moon like she was nothing but a tree to be bucked. Rarity! The unicorn delivered a strong kick of her own to the side of Nightmare Moon's head. Fluttershy! A meek dainty smack was supplied to the alicorn's cheek. Twilight! A surge of magic blasted the alicorn towards Rainbow Dash. The blue Pegasus grinned as she lashed out with both hooves, jabbing a series of lightning punches, finishing a fierce uppercut that sent her foe flying back. Rainbow Dash started out the nearest window and flew around the castle, only to re-enter through a window on the opposite side of the room and strike Nightmare Moon again from the other side. Keep it up! Rainbow Dash called as her friends surrounded Nightmare Moon in a circle. Again! Pinkie Pie! Applejack! Rarity! Fluttershy! Twilight! With hooves and wings and magic was rained down upon the dark mare as she was knocked to and fro. She would no sooner turn from one attacker, only to be beset by the rest. And everywhere she turned, every place she looked, there was Rainbow Dash. Darting here, appearing there, always with an encouraging shout to one of her friends, or a defiant cry rallying against Nightmare Moon. She was buffeted by her wings, sore all over from the lashing of Dash's hooves against her hide, and the angry, determined glint in her eye that chilled even her hard heart. Worse, the longer the fight went on, the more closely the 6 cooperated and worked together, the more they pulsed with the light emanating from the elements of harmony. No, her eyes widened. No, 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 no! Her eyes shined solid white as she tossed her wings wide, A shockwave of energy erupting from her to toss the attackers back. There was a bright flash, and every pony in the throne room found themselves pressed against the wall. Enough! She panted as her horn shimmered. My strips burst from the tip and encircled the pony. One wrapped itself around Fluttershy's middle, pinning her wings down. Two more attached themselves to Twilight and Rarity's horn, blocking their magic. Birds circling to tie their legs together. Two more hog-tied Piggy Pie and Applejack. Only Rainbow Dash was left unaffected. She panted, glaring at Nightmare Moon. Let them go! Nightmare Moon chuffed. Oh, I warned you, Rainbow Dash. I warned you that I would make you suffer as no pony ever has for defying me. You know, when you said you were going to kill me, I didn't imagine it'd be dying by old age. She narrowed her eyes. Unless you plan on doing me in with your killer breath. Whew! You got a royal case of B.O., your heinous. Make your feeble jokes while you can. Nightmare Moon tossed her head dismissively. They were not afraid of you here. That's right, keep on talking me to death. Taz rolled her eyes. You done it gone this long, why stop now? Nightmare Moon's horn shimmered, and the throne room reassembled itself. Part of the wall fell away, revealing the night sky and the great heights upon which the tower stood. 5 long protrusions jutted out into the air. Each of her friends deposited on one of them. Rainbow Dash jerked at seeing them tied and bound precariously on the edge, a hair's length away from falling off. She attempted to fly out and grab them, only to find her tied tail and bound to the floor with Nightmare Moon's magic. Nightmare Moon's ears twitched as she turned her head to see Ditzy Dew and Zecora, trying to carry shining armor, Silver Lining and stealing out. Rainbow tried to warn them. Ditzy! Zecora! Run! But it was too late. Soon the 5 of them were bound to the wall, trapped. Now, Nightmare Moon spun around, we are going to play a little game. You fancy yourself the fastest in the world, one of the greatest flyers ever? Rainbow Dash extended her wings and arched them up in a threatening fashion. You let me go, and I'll show you how fast I can kick your rump. Nightmare Moon bared to the teeth. Let's put that to the test. She levitated Twilight and the others off their precarious positions and held them over the abyss. How many of your friends do you think you'll be able to save before they hit the ground? 2, 3, maybe 4 if you're extraordinarily lucky, but not all of them. The Nightmare was smug. Your friends called the loyalist of all. See what they think now. Who will you choose to save? Who will you sacrifice? The choice is yours. Better pick fast. She laughed as she released her hold on Rainbow Dash's tail, just as she let the others stop onto the edge. They screamed as they fell, making Nightmare Moon laugh as Rainbow let out an anxious cry of her own as she flew down after them, knowing that Nightmare Moon was right. She wasn't fast enough. Wasn't good enough. Chapter 29, The Moment. You know what would have been a really juicy move, guys? If I decide not to do this chapter, and instead left you with that cliffhanger earlier. But I am not douchey, because I care about you. Rainbow Dash was doing what she taught Piggy's Eye never to do. Fly directly at the ground. She wasn't diving, not flying in at an angle, but flying straight down as fast as she could. There was every chance she could end up a pancake, splatter on the ground below, but that thought was pushed far to the back of her mind. Of course, this wasn't the first time she'd done this, but it was usually the result of a juvenile dare, and had started from much higher up. This time, the stakes were much, much higher. Below, just out of her reach, her friends were falling to their deaths. Fluttershy screamed as she tried to open her wings, but they were held tight by Nightmare Moon's bonds. Even Twilight Sparkle's oppressive magic was contained. There was nothing to stop or even slow their descent, except for the rocky ground below that was rapidly approaching. The wind whipped at Rainbow's face as it blew her mane and tail back. There were tears trickling down her cheeks that had nothing to do with the rushing wind tugging at her eyes. 5 ponies, 5 friends, and not enough time to save them all. Who gets saved? Who gets left to die? Fluttershy? No, never. Memories twisted in her gut of Fluttershy falling to the earth below, while she raced to defend her armor, oblivious to her plight. This time, there was no cloud of butterflies to break her fall. She swore she'd never let Fluttershy down again. She was her oldest friend. The thought of some pony as soft and gentle and kind as her lying broken on the ground squeezed at her heart so hard, Rainbow found herself fighting for breath. Pinkie Pie! How could she even think of letting Pinkie Pie fall? As strange and weird as that pink earth pony was, Rainbow didn't even see what just bounce up and be fine after a fall like this. She wasn't full of life. It was like she was life. Always laughing, always bouncing, partying, bringing a smile to some pony's face. How could the world continue on without her laughter making it better? Applejack? A pony who offered to take her in without even knowing who she was, just because she could tell Rainbow needed a hoof. Always tough, but remarkably gentle in her feelings. Honest and trustworthy. Ponies like her were their backbone of Equestria. How could Rainbow Dash leave her behind? Especially having met her large family, all of whom loved and cared for AJ. Rarity? It taken her a while to warm up to the fussy unicorn, but seeing how much she loved her little sister, everything she sacrificed to get them this far, Rainbow Dash couldn't imagine a Ponyville without her. Twilight Sparkle! The funny, dorky, initially withdrawn, and insanely powerful Twilight. Shiny Armor had tossed the two of them together because he knew they complemented each other, countering each other's strengths and weaknesses. Twilight had just finally started to come out of her shell and start making friends. She had a bright future ahead of her, if it didn't end on the ground. Rainbow Dash grit her teeth. No, no, no! She couldn't do it. She couldn't choose between them. Each and every pony was precious to her, in their own unique, different way. Picturing the world without any one of them was like trying to make a rainbow missing a color. It just wouldn't work. Wait a minute. Her eyes stare at that. Rainbows, rainbows. Come on, Dash, think! She scratched her eyes as she tried to probe the flicker of that passing that thought provoked. On those occasions when Rainbow needed to clear her thoughts, who firstly think things through, flying always provided her the best inspiration. Rainbows. Her friends. The elements of harmony. What did they all mean? The voices of her friends floated through her mind. It wasn't until I found some gemstones after the explosion of light. There was this, I don't know, big explosion, and this light, and then my magic just went crazy. But then I saw the most amazing rainbow that made me smile, and smile until I never wanted to stop. I got more cutie mark after I followed the rainbow home. But then they were startled away by this loud noise. An explosion, a rainbow, a loud noise, her friend's cutie marks. Her eyes widened. It was her sonic rainboom! That was the connection! You know, if you weren't such a luckhead, you would have figured this out days ago. Rude's some small portion of Rainbow's mind, but Dash was too excited to take heed of it. They were all connected by her rainboom, and there were 6 of them, just like there were 6 elements of harmony. This was meant to be! But why didn't it work back there? Rainbow thought furiously. What was missing? That was when she thought back to her rainbow analogy. Each one of them a part of a rainbow. It didn't matter how bright each individual color was. It was the unity of all of them that made a rainbow. It wasn't enough that Applejack was honest, or Fluttershy kind, or whatnot. It was that they were all friends. Together, in harmony! Rainbow Dash felt a fierce grin tug at the corner of her lips. Along with the G she was currently pulling. That was the secret! The 6 of them together were what was going to stop Nightmare Moon. Sakura had been trying to give Dash the hint the entire time. If she had just fallen on ahead without them, she might have been able to avoid some of the obstacles she encountered and arrive sooner, but she wouldn't have been able to defeat the nightmare. She needed her friends. She still did. And that's when Rainbow knew they would win, because she would never let any of them drop. We're in this together, and I won't leave my friends hanging or falling! Her wings beat twice, as hard as she hurled herself toward the ground. Her muscles ached, sleep beaded on her frown, only to be swept away by the wind. She grunted as she felt the familiar push of a barrier in her way, as she struggled to fly through it. Her old foe. How many times had she pushed and strained at the barrier, only to have her snap back and send her flying like a sack of potatoes? Too many times to count. The barrier sharpened as Rainbow plowed through the head. Each inch forward was marked by a dramatic increase of the pressure on her, threatening to shove her back. No, not this time! Dash flapped her wings harder, moving toward inch by inch. You're not gonna keep me from them! You hear me? You're not! As she felt her wings and tail being tugged as if something behind her was trying to haul her away. But she couldn't, wouldn't be, not when her friends were still in front of her. So close to the crown, too. Okay, guys. You know that I usually like to recommend songs for awesome moments like this. I think you guys know what to play. It's Rainbow Dash's Image song. It's the one song I think really needs to be put on Rock Band and every other music out there. It needs to be put in the show. So, go to your media player, go to YouTube, and grab Mando Pony's Loyalty. Hit it! Twilight was screaming as she fell spun, her eyes catching rainbows for a moment. Her pleading eyes met Dash's determined magenta ones. Then Rainbow redoubled her efforts. Come on! Come on! She pushed and pushed, her wings sore and aching, but she didn't stop until KABOOM! The final barrier splintered and shattered like a pane of glass as Rainbow did the impossible. For the second time in her life, a sonic rainboom. Accompanying the breaking of the sound barrier was a bright rainbow-colored shockwave. Even the 5 ponies falling to their doom took a second to marvel at it, their eyes widening in amazement and recognition. Accompanying the breaking of the sound barrier was a bright rainbow-colored shockwave. Even the 5 ponies falling to their doom took a second to marvel at it, their eyes widening in amazement and recognition. It was her, Applejack mumbled softly. Oh, my star apples. That's the rainbow! Pinkie exclaimed. It was as if, for one instant, all 6 ponies became one. They all recognized the importance of the sonic rainboom, but for what it meant to them personally and to each other. They became aware of their connection to one another, forged years ago before they had even met. Soon, the rainbow filled the length and width of their vision. Their eyes watched the color. Colored hues started surrounding each pony, like the colored magic aura cast by a unicorn's horn, only much larger and encompassing their entire bodies. Rainbow Dash was giving up a red pulse of light, even as she trailed the brightest rainbow ever seen behind her. Applejack looked down to see herself surrounded in an orange light. First, I gasped at the yellow surrounding her. Randy pulsed with a green light, while Pinkie Pie's was blue. Twilight was a distinct purple. Rainbow Dash, moving faster than she ever had before, flew underneath her friends. Then she proceeded to dart from pony to pony, tossing them on her back or clutching them in her hooves. One by one, she did the impossible and grabbed them all. Applejack, Rarity, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, and Twilight Sparkle! No pony was left behind. Rainbow pulled out of her sheer drop and dove upwards. I can clear the sky in 10 seconds flat. Well, how about that? How about that? Hear me. What did I do? What did I do? You'll stay with you. That's why they call me Loyalty. Sorry, I really love that song. Standing shocked still at the top of the castle, Nightmare Moon's jaw dropped in horror. No! She bellowed right before the event horizon of the rainbow struck her full on, tossing her back in the throne room. As the sonic rainbow spread up and out, it passed through the battling armories, dissipating the conjured shadow bolts into the mists they had been forced from, and leaving the gargoyles, diamond dogs, and sea ponies watching in amazement. The enchantments holding Rainbow's friends, and keeping Fluttershy's wings and horns of Twilight and Rarity in check, faded away. Sakura, Ditty, and the others were released from their magic chains and fell to the floor. They got to their hosts just as time to see Rainbow Dash, letting her friends off as they stood in a circle. Rainbow Dash! Sakura called. Use the element's power! Use them to lay out Darkest Hour! She didn't need to ask twice. The 6 colors enveloping the 6 ponies merged together like several small streams, becoming a mighty river as it surged upwards and plummeted down to the helpless Nightmare Moon. The dark mare whinnied and veered on her hind legs, trying to bat it away from her, but the rainbow of light surrounded and engulfed her completely. The colors soon faded from Rainbow Dash and her friends, as they felt themselves returning to the here and now, the consciousness having felt like it was gone someplace far beyond where any pony had gone before. But now they were back and aware, fully conscious of what happened. Oh my, Fluttershy whispered, looking around. Is it over? I think it is! I did it! A smile stretched across Rainbow's face. It happened! I did it! Well, yeah, you did it! AJ looked at her questioningly. Rainbow, despite how tired and aching her wings were, couldn't help but leap into the air and perform a neat loop-de-loop. Yeah! I did a Sonic Rainboom! She hugged herself with glee. I did it! Oh, shucks, congrats! AJ rolled her eyes. And here we were thinking about saving the world and Cyber Moon and all, but don't let that get in your way. Rainbow flushed, but even that gentle child couldn't keep her spirits down. Twilight gave Applejack a nudge. Let her have her moment. She worked so hard to do that again. And she did save all our lives. She smiled, shaking her head. I just can't believe. That's what made my magic go off? A Sonic Rainboom? If it weren't for that Rainboom, for Dash, I never would have gotten my cutie mark. I believe that goes for all of us, darling. Verity nodded, looking around. Every pony out on. Dizzy felt her eyes rolling in opposite directions before she got them back under the ground. All good, she giggled, swaying slightly before sitting down. The two Pegasi guards, Steel Wing and Silver Lining, leaned against one another to keep themselves propped up. Sakura, normally poised and collected, ran over and threw her hose around Rainbow Dash. Yeah! Sakura! The scientist screamed. I knew you could do it. I did. You're all so amazing. I think I just may flip my lid. Twilight, a weak voice called. Twilight set her head up and ran over. Shining armor! She cried out, hugging her big brother so tightly. The big brawny stallion winced. He ran a hoof through her mane. Oh, sis, you were beyond amazing. I always knew you had it in you. Shining, I'm so sorry, Twilight sobbed softly. For... He asked her gently. It's okay, Twi. You did what you have to do. I'm proud of you. Rainbow Dash smiled, but it was tinged with sadness. Shining Armor was apparently aware of everything that happened while he was under Nightmare Moon's control. She sighed, remembering everything Dark and Armor told her. Dizzy gasped, Rainbow Dash! Dash laid the hook dismissively. Dizzy, you don't have to apologize for anything. It wasn't your... Not that! She blurted, pointing at the darkened corner of the room. Nightmare Moon! At that cry, every pony and zebra stopped to turn to look. Rainbow Dash zoomed ahead of the others, her wings outstretched to protect every pony behind her. Show yourself! A hesitant hoof shook as it emerged from the shadows. The pony attached to it slowly stumbled out. It was a light blue Alicorn, about halfway between Nightmare Moon and Celestia, and a regular pony in terms of size. But her cutie mark was the same. There was no question. Nightmare Moon! Rainbow Dash barked. The Alicorn flinched and shied her head away. No, I'm not! She fell to her knees, sticking like a leaf. I swear, I'm not her anymore! Rainbow Dash would have none of it. You! She flew over Tucker into a wall. You tried to kill every pony I knew! You're the racist Celestia! Her voice broke, choked over emotion. Her eyes voiced with trails of rage. I hate you! The Alicorn whimpered. Please, no! It wasn't me! It wasn't me! She sobbed pathetically. Dash raised a hoof angrily. Wait, Fluttershy said softly as he fluttered over. She gently put her hoof on top of Rainbow's. My beer. I don't think she can hurt any pony anymore. But she tried to kill you. She tried to kill us all! Rainbow said, shaking her repressed rage. She deserves it! Is that what Celestia would want? Fluttershy asked gently. Rainbow Dash looked back between her and the cringing Alicorn at her hooves. Her hoof twitched, then dropped. She sighed. No, I just wish. Rainbow Dash looked up and away. Fluttershy laid her head against Rainbow's. Their smile widened. Rainbow, look! She tilted her head towards the window. Dash and the others followed her gaze. Golden light came in through the window. The sun was rising. Rainbow Dash walked over to the stand in the sun's rays. Never thought I missed it so much, she mumbled, closing her eyes and drinking the in. Dust motes danced in the sunlight as the gentle breeze blew in, opening her wings out. She felt something soothing moving between her feathers. Her eye cracked open a sliver as she saw a tiny shimmering particles twinkling in the light, wafting through the window. They seemed oddly familiar, comforting even. A thought crossed into her mind as she slowly backed out of the light. The golden particles swirled and switched around, pulling together and coalescing into an all-familiar tall pony shape, complete with splendid wings and a large majestic horn. Princess Celestia?